Hello and welcome to another IBM Developer Meetup for Australia and New Zealand. Thanks for geeking out with us. Be sure to like and subscribe to get the latest updates, news, events, and more.
Wait, give us a thumb. Wait, let me put Ali's audio on. We're trying a few new things this meetup, so a few moving parts, as you can see. But hello, thank you all for joining us. I think we're live.
2020 problems, yo.
I know. We've learned so much this year. It has definitely been quite the agile learning experience. Would you say, Ali?
I definitely would. It has been an amazing and crazy and hectic, and I don't know, there's so many words to describe this year. I hope you've had some highs to go with some of the craziness that happened this year all around the world. Thank you for joining us here. We've got a lot of things to celebrate, and that's exactly what we want to do today. And say goodbye to 2020 in style, I guess. So thank you all for joining us. Yes, there's going to be dancing. There's going to be good scotch at the end of this, I hope. Let's kick it off. Let's play that intro.
Wow, what a year.
One word for this year, it would be
crazy.
Agile.
Exciting.
Driving.
Whoa.
This year, Call for Code Australia and New Zealand
Has gone virtual.
Opening up the opportunity for collaboration across borders
And around the world.
Aside from the amazing speakers,
and mentors who volunteer their time.
Passion and expertise.
thank you.
We were really inspired by the energy and ideas of
the innovators, problem solvers, and change makers.
That answered the call to take on climate change and COVID-19.
From all of us here at IBM Developer,
We would like to thank you.
For making a difference.
And having a positive impact in the world.
We will be back next year to take on
Climate change.
COVID-19.
and diversity and inclusion.
and we invite everyone.
From all backgrounds and ability levels.
To join us for Call for Code 2021.
We look forward to seeing you there.
And we wish you all a happy,
healthy.
An inspiring holiday season.
we
We made it!
Hello. So yes, we did make it finally. Thank you again for joining us today. We have a little bit of an agenda. So first up, we have got the awesome Ben Peterson, who's going to talk about his favourite moments of the year. We're also going to talk to the developer advocacy team about some of their favourite moments of the year. We've got a couple of cool projects that IBM Australia has done this year, including the Qantas remastering of images with AI. That was by Adam and Ben. They're coming up to quickly talk about that. And we love highlighting some of the cool things that IBM is doing across Australia. So thank you so much for joining us and for being awesome as well. We've also got Benjamin Goudey from the IBM Research team coming to have a quick chat about the genetic risk factors for celiac disease that they discovered this year as well, which is a massive breakthrough. And finally, we've got an awesome panel with our Call for Code participants this year. Business Buddy, Recharge and Euphora are going to be here, and I know Sandra Alday will be cheering on from the sidelines as well. And finally, some closing and some networking for the year. So thank you so much for joining us again. We are so happy to have you with us, and there's so many people we'd love to thank. G-Chan, I would love to hear some of the awesome events that you enjoyed this year, if you could share them with us.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ali. And hopefully you guys can hear me properly. If not, post it in the chat and we will try to fix it. So yeah, we did a lot of events this year. And as you guys know, I spend a lot of my time with universities. And so it was really hard for me to pick just, my top event or engagement. And so I thought I'd kind of mix it up a bit, and I've chosen three sort of events. And the first one is actually UNSW SunSwift. So for those who don't know, it's actually a solar car challenge that spans over 2 years. And I had the privilege of doing a design thinking workshop with a lot of the teammates and Richard, who actually looks after the program. And so if my memory serves me right, I think they're driving from Queensland down to Adelaide. So it's a really long drive and all powered by solar cars. So very interesting. And then I also do a lot of mentoring programs. So it's really hard to pinpoint just one, but I'll talk about it as a general whole. But I really love talking, first of all. And I really like meeting new people. So being part of mentoring programs kind of just gave me the opportunity to do both, which is always a positive. And then not trying to be biased or anything, but the hackathons that we ran this year for Call for Code were probably my most impactful and interesting in the fact that all of the solutions that were being created were for a specific cause. It was to make an impact to the world. So those are my highlights for this year. And if you want to know more on any of those, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I think I'm handing over to Ben or back to Stevie.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Amazing. So fun fact, all right, now we've been through a lot this year, and definitely agile is one word to sum it up, which is what I was saying when you all couldn't hear me. It turns out the platform we're using now, which has been freaking amazing, just to say, like, it's been really cool. They've just decided to roll out an update, which kind of broke a few things. So anyway, again, working agile in production, what can go wrong? Anyway.
Plenty, as we saw. And thank you to G-Chan for sharing some of those amazing.
Thank you, G-Chan.
Yep, I know you've done a lot of work with the unis, and I know they all love you. Next up, just before we intro Ben, now that we're on a roll, I think we'll go ahead and keep going with the our highlight events from the developer advocacy team. So I'd like to ask Kong if he'd like to share some of his favourite moments from this year. Kong.
Hello, and hopefully you guys can hear me. Now, I'm not sure whether my camera is actually working because we broke earlier, but yeah, now I
We can see you and hear you. That's a thumbs up.
Looks like the stuff was a lot more stable now, which is fantastic. So my highlights of the year has been working from home, being able to wake up at night and just like start computer and start working like then and there. Well, there are downsides to COVID, but that is like the main upside in my opinion. So this year we welcome 2 new members to our team, developer Ali and Gloria, and they have been doing some fantastic work engaging with the community and lending a hand in engaging with our clients. So really thank you here. It's been a fairly unstable and challenging year with a lot of pressure, pressure is the right word here. Let's not go dive into that any deeper. And we all have been under pressure, and I appreciate that the team has been able to maintain composure and professionalism throughout the entire year. And we welcome 2021 with open arms, hopefully with more members to do more engagements and have more fun. Well, back to you then, Ali.
Thank you, Kong. And I really enjoyed doing this Security Final Frontier workshop alongside, well, not really alongside you. It was all you. You did an amazing job. It's been great working with you as well. So thank you for making me so welcome on the team as well. There's a lot of thank yous tonight, guys. And so bear with us. So I would like to quickly talk about some of my favorite events of this year as well. Because like a couple of the advocates have said before as well, one of my favorite parts of this job is being able to make a difference in both client and community. And I've been able to do that so much. And as Kong mentioned, I joined at the beginning of this year, at the end of April, actually. So They sent me a laptop to my home address in Sydney at the time. I opened it up and I started working, and it was months before I met any of the team, besides Steve, who I'd met before, in real life. So it was definitely an interesting introduction to a new job. And fun fact, I've never been to a single IBM office. So kind of cool. But the events across the year, I've helped, like Kong said, I've helped clients on innovation strategies. We've held amazing hackathons, and that's one of the things I love so much. We've helped students through workshops and mentorships, and I know Ji-Chan and I have done quite a few co-lab workshops, and I love working with you, Ji-Chan. So thank you, and thank you to all the unis that invite us to do those. I know there was Robo Girls Uni New South Wales, University of Sydney. One of my favourite events was the Uni of New South Wales Industry Insights, where we gave a talk on the impact of innovative tech. And I loved it because I had to do the research. I had to look back and go, well, what is happening and where are we going from here, and what are some of the cool things that it's done? And it really reminded me of why I got into tech as well, and that was to, you know, make a difference and make things easier for people to change things. And that's why I really loved our call for code this year. We've also, and we've got a lot on that, and I'm super excited that the panelists are coming as well. And the mentorship programs as well, it really surprised me how much personally I got out of being a mentor as well. So I encourage everyone to give that a go or to be a mentee. Either way is great. And being able to talk about all the cool new and amazing tech and work with other industry people as well. For example, Michelle Howie, I know we did Oz IoT with her, and that's been super cool. So I'm going to stop talking because I could go on all day about the cool things we've done this year. And they've all been supported by you, so thank you. And Steve, maybe you can talk about your favorite events now before I go on till next Wednesday.
I'm going to say the most memorable one for me, as it stands today, is today's event. Just because no matter how much planning you do, no matter how much things you put in place, stuff will go wrong. So there we are. No, they've all been amazing. Yeah, a lot of the mentoring, and definitely like having a lot of the support that we've had. And we have we have a whole bunch of videos, and I think I've already said that. Maybe you couldn't hear me, I don't know. But yeah, we've got a whole bunch of videos that sort of recognize that. And like, I've been doing DevRel or developer relations for a number of years now. And that's critical to doing this job because it is a lot of weird hours and yeah, a lot of fun events, but there is a lot of work that goes into it. So having that support behind the scenes and also in front of the scenes, mentors and all sorts of things is amazing. So big thank you to everyone. Should we do Ben now? I have a thing for Ben. Actually, I have a couple of things.
Steve, you've got to introduce him in style here. Are you ready?
All right.
We can hear you. Mic up. Everyone ready? Ben's ready. Let's do it.
Part of this elaborate setup is the fact that I can now do stingers. And for people that don't know what stingers is, that's the music that plays when someone's on their way to the stage. And IRL, back in my day, when we ran in real life events, that was fun because while they're walking up, you have like hypey music. And I can do that again now, I hope. Anyway, we're going to try it because what can go wrong? I mean, maybe fire, but I'm sure that won't happen. Anyway, so we're going to be joined by Ben Peterson in a minute. And I've always wanted to do one of these intros since I saw it on the famous show Top Gear some time ago. So some say he's the midnight DJ, often tasked with playing that music you hear in elevators. Some call him the Mudgy Cowboy. Some even call him Maurice or DJ BC. He is the one, the only Ben Peterson. That was
Ben Peterson, will you join us?
I was just enjoying that way too much. That was awesome. Thank you so much. You are never cease to amaze or embarrass me. So thank you so much for that. And thank you to everyone as well for joining us for our December meetup. We made it, 2020, we made it. Touch wood. I hope everyone's touching wood right now because as you've seen from the meetup so far, we absolutely need to. I can actually see 2020 sitting at a bar, hearing me say that, drinking a beer and then saying, hold my beer. These guys are getting too complacent. Let's see if I can take down Remo and what else can I do? So hold on to your seats, everyone. I'd like to begin by acknowledging that I'm coming to you in this meetup from the lands of the Gundungurra and Darug tribes of the Blue Mountains. I'm just going to change my audio real quick. Hopefully that's a little less crackly. 2020. Awesome, fantastic, great to hear. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'd like to be coming to you in this meetup from the lands of the Gundungurra and Darug tribes of the Blue Mountains in which I live. Not sure if anyone's mentioned this yet, but we have Deliveroo vouchers. So for the first 30 people that joined us tonight, you'll be receiving Deliveroo vouchers. So Kong and G-Chan will be reaching out to you soon. But also, I'm not sure if this has been mentioned yet because I've been dropping out half the time. We actually are going to be giving out Deliveroo vouchers for the best/worst dev and technical jokes throughout the event. You have to be within the Deliveroo serviced area. You're not allowed to use it to buy alcohol because we may have some underage people here. And you have to be in Australia. Sorry about that. Are you the next developer, Steve? I don't think so, but are you? And I've actually got one to share with you from my son, my oldest son. He loves to give dev jokes. So, what's the best programming language to use if you're a DJ? The answer is Scratch. Now that's funny on two levels, actually. When I say funny, it's not very funny, but it's funny on two levels. One being that obviously DJs scratch records, so that's pretty funny, right? But the second one, which was actually quite biting, is the fact that he's saying that DJs are so dumb that they have to use the most basic programming language. What a cheeky little turd. Anyway, so I've just set the bar, guys. So you either need to go above that bar or below that bar, and you may earn yourself a Deliveroo voucher. So there you go. There's the bar for you. Now, you may have heard that IBM is changing. Has anyone heard the rumors? Yes, we are changing. IBM is in fact spinning off the managed infrastructure part of the business, which is a very large part of the business. The part of the business that manages the infrastructure within some of the largest companies in the world. We've actually decided to spin that off. One of the reasons being is that people don't know what IBM stands for these days. Every day we go out and engaging with universities, with startups, with companies, and they say to us, what does IBM even do these days? What is IBM? Do you sell laptops? Do you do services? What is it that you even do these days? So really important from a brand perspective to actually have clarity in the market. And it's also really important to not spread yourself too thin, especially in a world that's changing so rapidly and technology is changing so rapidly. So the powers that be, the powers above, Arvind and Jim, decided that it would be a great idea to spin off a big chunk of the business and laser focus on becoming more of a hybrid cloud and AI company. So when we say hybrid cloud, we mean fourth platform. So we're talking about platforms, the same way that an iPhone is actually a platform. It's not just the hardware, but it's the software, it's the services, it's the ecosystem, it's the broader value in the community. That's what makes up a platform. So IBM moving forward, and you're hearing it here first, IBM is a hybrid cloud and AI company moving forward. So very exciting for us. Now we're able to actually explore. People will actually understand what it is that we do as well. So super excited about that. So I just wanted to share that with you. As part of that pivot in strategy, becoming a cloud and AI company, we're very much focusing on industry-based solutions. And certainly in 2021, there's going to be a lot of focus around regulated industries. So financial industries, telco, health, travel, food, agriculture. So a lot of the things that are really important to the Australian and Asia Pacific economies, let alone the world. As part of that strategy, as part of that plan, we need to embrace the ecosystem, and we're looking for people to join us on that mission. So we're looking for ecosystem partners, ISVs, innovators, startups, other partners that can help to build and create innovative pieces to the puzzle to help the broader economy. And we're really looking to work together with people across the ecosystem. So huge shift for IBM. IBM is no longer the company that does it all. and keeps it all with internally. We're now open. We're looking for the ecosystem. We want to embrace and help everyone to grow and innovate together. So I just thought I'd share with you some of the insights, some of my insights around the strategy, what IBM actually is these days, what we're becoming, and would really love for you to join us. So if you'd like any further information, please reach out to myself or any of the team, and happy to talk more. Now, let's step back to the start of the year. So do you even remember that? It feels like it was 10 years ago, right? So let's go back to the start of the year. Much of the east coast of Australia was burning, was ablaze, including my home of Blue Mountains. In fact, my parents were evacuated twice, and the fire came within 5 kilometres of my own home from 2 different directions. So pretty scary stuff. But we managed to get through. We managed to get through it. We got through it using community technology, and we managed to get through it. So we got through that, and my team and I were busy planning for the year ahead. It was February, so we'd just gotten over the fires. We were planning for the year ahead. We had Core for Code that we were planning for. We were going to be in every single state and every city, every university, going to New Zealand. We'd already booked venues and flights and accommodation and logistics and catering and done all of that. We booked client engagements and workshops, and we had everything planned out. And then COVID hit. Bit crazy, yeah? I'm sure you've had a similar experience this year. Within 2 weeks, we'd had to pivot completely from running physical events, which is all that we really knew and all that we did, to going 100% virtual. So one of the amazing innovations that we came upon was this platform, Remo. And while it hasn't been super stable tonight, it has been an amazing platform for us this year. And in fact, I haven't done the final count yet, but we've actually had more than 130 engagements on this platform, just this platform, this year. So when you take into account all of the different Zooms and WebEx, etc., everything else that we've worked on this year, we've done upwards of 150 engagements this year. So pretty incredible to think from going from a fully in real life face-to-face operation at the start of the year to having the world change, to having to pivot and turning a challenge into an opportunity, and turning that opportunity into success across all of the metrics that we're certainly measured on, and beyond our wildest imagination in terms of reach, communities that we've reached out to and engaged with. So really exciting year, very challenging year. Happy to see the back of it, but we pivoted, as I'm sure you did as well, pivoted in our day-to-day to make it through 2020 together. So I think we should all take a moment to congratulate ourselves for making it this far. Right, so the team and our guests, the team has already run through some of their highlights, but I wanted to run through some of my personal highlights, including planning for the deployment of some of the previous Call for Code winners. We had Project OWL and Prometeo, both looking to address natural disasters, including bushfires. And we had planned to deploy both of those solutions earlier in the year, but we have been planning through the year as we haven't known what was happening with COVID. But next year, we're actually going to be deploying these solutions. Really excited about having collaboration from Country Fire Association, the Rural Fire Service, and a number of organisations as well. So this is going to be a really big story next year. So really excited about that. I've also been really, really excited about working with clients, startups, universities, schools, many of the people who are with us today. Been really excited about working with you and really leaning in on supporting skills development and diversity and inclusion across the ANZ ecosystem. We're all really passionate about supporting Indigipreneurs. I said it, I got it right. Yes. In collaboration with Dean Foley and Barry Yammel, as well as IndigiGig as well, to help to find placement for some amazing Indigenous entrepreneurs and skilled workforce across Australia and New Zealand. We've been really excited about supporting women in tech, and Ali mentioned earlier RoboGals. So I was really excited to be a part of that as well as a number of other initiatives as well. And also neurodiversity in collaboration with the lab in Ballarat. And you may know or may not know that IBM itself is quite a large employer of neurodiverse people. We have more than 10 within IBM, and they're amazing people, absolutely amazing. And for me personally, supporting and fostering diversity and inclusion in our teams and communities is more than just being about equality and equity. I passionately believe that having a diverse set of skills, mindsets, experiences allows our team, the hive mind of our team, to be expanded. And by having an expanded hive mind, we're able to tackle any challenge that we're faced with and make better decisions. We become a wiser and more innovative team. So really excited about fostering this and driving this focus for next year and moving forward as well. And it's also great for the soul of the individual, soul of the team, soul of the community as well. So whether you believe in karma, whether you're a spiritual person or not, it's good for so many reasons. And when you get to collaborate with people of different backgrounds, different neurodiverse people, it really is incredible to open up your own imagination and awareness. So really excited about that and really looking forward to continuing it. We're also really passionate about open source and the power of community in driving progress in many different areas. Call for Code, and hopefully you all know what Call for Code is, a global a program, initiative, competition using technology and innovation to solve some of the greatest challenges facing the planet. Climate change, natural disasters I mentioned already, obviously COVID this year. Next year, diversity inclusion. We're super excited about that, of course. So this is an open source program. So one of the reasons that we're so excited about it. But there's other great open source projects as well that IBM has helped to foster that I'm also really excited about seeing progress and develop moving forward. And I'd love for you to join us in helping to move these forward, as well as other projects. So I'd just like to share a few of my favorites with you though. First one, fully homomorphic encryption toolkits, which encrypts data in Mac and iOS apps while in use. So these toolkits provide code and development environment settings that developers can use to compute on encrypted data and build security into the business logic of your applications. Really exciting project. Elira, that's been a hit this year, absolutely. You can extend Jupyter Lab UI to develop AI models. Whether you're just getting started in data science or a seasoned data scientist, you're probably using the Jupyter Lab IDE to create data and AI models. We released the Elira AI Toolkit, a set of open source AI-centric extensions to Jupyter Lab to simplify the development of data science and AI models. Elira offers support for machine learning workflow pipelines, Git versioning, code snippets, and much more. So please check that one out. The Equal Access Toolkit, really cool one. Developed with accessibility in mind from the start. Building accessibility into your websites and applications is incredibly important for the 1 in 4 disabled adults who use technology. The open source Equal Access Toolkit and Checker gives developers and testers tools that they can use to embed accessibility directly into their workflows. So amazing project. Open Horizon, I know this is a favorite of developer Steve's. Enable autonomous management of more than 10,000 edge devices simultaneously. I think he calls it fog computing or something like that, but yeah, super exciting for IoT and edge applications as well. Qiskit, not a new project, you may have already heard of it. Quantum capabilities that grow with hybrid quantum computing in mind. Although it's not new, we've added new capabilities this year to improve the Qiskit compiler, as well as upgrades that allow users to build richer and more advanced quantum circuits to run on both our simulators as well as our quantum hardware. So get involved with Qiskit. And space projects, using machine learning models and containers to deal with space junk and communication problems. How exciting is that? While open source technology powers much of the world's systems, new projects are now extending to outer space. The IBM Space Tech project recently released 2 new open source projects that solve common problems faced by space explorers. The Space Situational Awareness Project helps determine the trajectory of space junk using machine learning models. The CubeSat project is a cognitive autonomous framework that helps swarms of satellites communicate more effectively. So how cool are they? So I'll share the link a little bit later in the chat, but would love for you to have a look at these, would love for you to get involved. And there's others as well, but they're just 6 of the ones that I'm particularly excited about. We're also helping, we're also working with organizations across ANZ to help them to build their own open source contribution framework as an organization, as a brand. This is pretty exciting. Many organizations, probably most of the people on this remote, consume open source projects plentifully, but not many are actually contributing as a brand or an organization. So we're really well placed to actually share our learnings from the last 20 years of being not only that's the top technology patent producer for 27, 28 years, whatever it actually is, but also one of the largest contributor to the open source community in the world. So we've been able to find that balance, and that balance, that the lessons around that is something that we're able to share with organizations across ANZ. So you'll hear a lot more from us on this topic moving forward into next year as well. Now, before I pass over to the team to move on, when I wanted to say thank yous to everyone who has supported and contributed this year. When I sat down and started to make a list of all the people that I wanted to thank for their contribution and support this year, it soon became apparent that the list was epic. Now, as soon as the word epic is mentioned anytime around these places, guess whose ears pricked up? That's right, Dev Steve. Our own Mr. Epic himself, Dev Steve, who of course took it upon himself to make the thanks as epic as possible. In fact, when we're talking about how we can make things epic for our engagements with clients and community, we often refer to the action as Dev Steving the thing. So yeah, of course, here we go. So Dev Steve, please roll the tape, and while the tape's rolling, hopefully it rolls.
Oh, jinx it.
While it's rolling, is everyone touching wood? Is everyone still touching wood? Touch that wood. Touch that wood. Go there. There we go. Thank you so much. While it's rolling, here we go. Epicness. Well done, Dev Steve. I did want to actually thank a few people personally. While that's rolling, you can see it's a huge list. So I'd like to personally thank Leon Gletsis, Nick Renot, Narayana, Dev Mukherjee, Yui, Franny, Shiva, Kyra, Chox, Dpro, Murph, Adam Macker and Ben Swinney, Helen Whitehead, Nick Elsley, Belinda Sheehan, Alessio, I know you're there, Steve King, Michelle Howie, Dean Foley, Addy, Maddie, Matt, Shruti, Dileben and Alison Irvin from Research, Liam Hampton, Ems Kuchen, we love you, and my amazing boss, just in case she's actually on this call right now. No, I'm only joking, she's amazing anyway. Bridget Tracy, who supports everything that we do and never asks too many questions or stops the very unusual budget requests. So thank you all to all of these amazing people, as well as the people on the list here. We couldn't have done it without you. You're an amazing community. We love you so much. And thank you for everything that you do to support the community and us. And I would also like to thank my amazing team, G-Chan, Kong, Epic Dev Steve, and Ali. You guys are the best in the world, literally are the best in the world within IBM, been recognized for 2 years running now. So you're the best, and I wouldn't want to go through any global crisis with anyone else other than you. So thank you. And I'll pass now to G-Chan. No, to Dev Steve. Who am I passing to?
Thank you so much, Ben. And applause to you.
Thank you.
And the love heart emojis going up on the screen for those lovely words too. And I echo Ben in thanking everyone for being here as well.
No methodologies today. Just as
we've been, agile is definitely the word for this year. you know, there's nothing constant other than change, though, is there, Steve? Just to get all philosophical.
Keep you on your toes. And yeah, just reiterating what Ben was saying, like half the stuff that we were hoping was going to work tonight and should have worked tonight. But anyway, when you deploy this production, you don't know what's going to happen. I should at least switch to the fire scene now, but I don't want to jinx it. Yeah. But I mean, even this year, like we've learned so much in everyone. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
That one's really good. Just worth keeping an eye on the chat too. Those jokes are freaking amazing. So please keep those coming. And just to keep you warmed up, I'm going to give you a new one right now that I made by accident 2 weeks ago on a video call because that's where they come from. And maybe I might have one of my sound bites working. But anyway, why does IT support like quantum computing so much, Ali?
I don't know, Steve. Why? What is the answer to this? And do I need my hat for the pace palm?
You do. IT support loves quantum computing so much because they can turn it on and off at the same time. Actually, off and on, but it doesn't really matter because you get the idea. Anyway.
You know what, Steve? That one's pretty good, and I don't need the hat for that one. But some of the ones in the chat, I don't know. I might have to go with the hat again.
New tricks that we literally learned this week now is I can do that. So I don't even have to laugh at my own jokes now. I have a button that does it for me. So there you go. Anyway,
so
we have some amazing guests coming up next.
We do indeed. And thank you guys for coming and joining us. As we said, we wanted to highlight some of the awesome things. Ben went through a lot of the awesome things that IBM's been doing this year, but we also wanted to highlight some of the things that IBM Australia has achieved this year. And one of the bigger events of the year, and I'm going to ask Ben and Adam to join us here on the stage as VIPs. Ben was mentioning he's not used to being a VIP. So Ben, welcome to the stage as a very important person. These guys have remastered some 100-year-old, some images from Qantas's back collection for their 100th birthday this year using AI, and I believe they used AI in a very new way as well. So Adam and Ben, welcome, and I'll let you talk about it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll just very quickly introduce myself. So my name's Ben Swinney. I'm an AI technical specialist out of IBM Systems Lab Services, and along with my colleague, who I'll allow to introduce himself because he does it very well.
Yep. Thanks. Adam Makarucha, a data scientist out of the systems team. We're focused on doing AI and data science workloads with our GPU accelerated system.
Excellent. So I'm going to take you through a very quick slide deck, and hopefully everything will go right. So if this goes wrong, I do apologize. What I probably will do is I'll turn off my camera now because I live in the part of Australia where sometimes sending a letter via Aussie Post is actually quicker than sending an email. So I will turn off my camera in that sense. 2 seconds. And hopefully, if this works. Oh, God damn it. It was working before. Typical. Let me try again. Try this. Allow. Does that work? No?
No. Did the allow button pop up?
It did, but what's going to happen is
I'll just play this scene for a second while we sort that out.
Let me see. I'll try and share.
No, and the funny part is we actually tested this on the stage before we started, but yeah, this is fine. We've got it.
How's that? Can you see slides there?
Yes, we have. And it actually went to the new view, which is, we've never seen. And now you can see that if everyone can see this. Just as an FYI.
What can you see? Can you see the presenter view or the main view?
This is presenter view, so all good.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Okay, is that working now, Adam? Sorry about that.
I've presented. I've shared. Do you want to? I'll kick off.
All right. Okay. You can make a start, mate. Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. No worries. I'll make it. These things are going really well, aren't they? I'll turn off. Okay. I'll start. I'll make the introductions, mate, if you don't mind, if that's okay. Perfect. Okay, so well, after that little bit of mishap, tonight we are going to take you through some of the work we've been doing probably over the last year and a half, 18 months, where we've actually been taking artificial intelligence technology and applying it to imagery and videos, and essentially applying some sort of remastering process to that. Now, we initially started this process probably, as I mentioned, about 18 months ago with a customer of ours, AFL, where we took some of their footage and we actually applied this technology to it. And since then, we've also worked with some additional customers such as News Corp, where some of our work has actually been featured within the newspaper. And probably, at least for me personally, one of the proudest moments was some of our work was actually featured as part of the Anzac celebratory process. But recently, we've actually started working with Telstra. So Telstra...
you mean Qantas.
Sorry, man, this is what goes wrong. Yeah, recently. Qantas, how bad does that sound? So Qantas is actually celebrating its centennial this year. It's 100 years, and we thought, how can we actually work with Qantas? How can we, help them celebrate this fantastic event of theirs? So, we thought, well, why don't we take some of the great work we've done and try and apply it to some of their imagery? And one of the great things about Qantas is they actually have a lot of fantastic footage from years gone by. For example, this image here is one of their first remote offices, and we have images of passengers. As years gone by, we have a big back catalogue. So one of the best ways to actually engage somebody is to take an image and present it to them. Now, typically black and white footage, it's not really that engagement, to be honest. So what do? We apply a bit of color to it, and instantly that image becomes engaging. So we worked with Qantas and we said, okay, let's do this. What can we do? Now, this was a very, very agile, would you say, Adam? This approach of a project. We had 2 weeks. We had 2 weeks to actually get all this work done, and that was taking 20 images and a video of 90 seconds. As part of the work, we would apply the colorization technique. Now, colorization itself, if you are to apply this yourself, across those 20 images plus the video, you're probably talking approximately 5 weeks worth of work. Because of the techniques we had harnessed over our experience over the last year and a half, we were actually able to take that down to 16 minutes. Okay, there's a couple hours of training in there as well. But to be honest, training, we don't do anything. We just sit there and ensure that it's working right. And this is one of the great things of actually applying and looking at something like artificial intelligence and taking this as part of this approach.
And I'll jump in here.
Yep.
So the techniques we used were generative AI. So there's a series of models that we applied, and in another meetup next year, we'll probably go into them in more detail. But things like auto encoders, generative adversarial networks were what we applied to do the remastering process, which includes colorization. Now, to do that well and to get the colors right, you need good training data. And how do you get training data where you've got the right colors from images that were only ever black and white? Well, we were very lucky in that Qantas went away and they built, recently did a safety video that plays when the flight is taxiing. Well, that safety video actually tried to recreate the imagery from the eras gone by of Qantas's history. And so that included from the 1920s, like this image, in the 50s and 60s, and all the way up to the 70s and 80s. And we were able to take that imagery from Qantas that was in color because they've recreated it and actually use that to train our models. We did that on a GPU accelerated system, Power Systems AC922. And so we did remastering. And remastering in this case includes taking low resolution photos and upscaling them. As this example shows, we take them, and by upscaling them, we get sharper images that are better for our downstream tasks. We can take things like old archival footage that's noisy because it's sat in an archive for years and actually clear it up, clean it up like this. And we can even take images where there's been scratches like this and actually remove the scratches using AI. Once we've done those processes, that's when we go about using and applying colorization. And as Ben pointed out, this is a photo from the first offices of Qantas when it was set up in Queensland. This is a photo of a flight in 1935 over Brisbane. This is Charlie Chaplin, his wife and his mother-in-law, along with the pilot in the middle there. And all of these images were remastered and then colorized using AI. And as Ben pointed out, this would have taken hours if it had to be done manually. So we also had to ensure we got the colors right for certain things. A good example is this plane, the Avro, which is the first plane that was used by Qantas in the very early days, in the 1920s. And we were able to achieve that by providing hints to the model that the color of that plane was this sage green. We've done that for these two examples here. And so Qantas took this imagery and that we'd colorized and remastered and put it out on their socials. And they shared that with a bunch of users, their clientele, their user base and the community to highlight just and get that attention about how Qantas as a brand has evolved over the last 100 years. Now, they even used this image and a few others like it to project up onto the Harbour Bridge. And that's why it's important for us to get to the high resolution so that things like this don't appear pixelated or washed out when they're up projected. But I think the moment for me that was most interesting, exciting for the entire project was when I saw this comment by Philippa Coates that she recognized her grandmother in a photo that we had colorized. And it would be the first time she's ever seen that photo in color, and seeing the colors and sort of the life in the photo that her grandmother, who was boarding a plane at the age of 22, three-seater, it would have been a really exciting moment. And it's something that you strive to achieve when you do projects like this.
Amazing. So really joining generations together and projecting it all across the Harbour Bridge as well.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Get you back to do a more in-depth thing on that, because that is really cool. As somebody that does a lot of photoshopping and After Effects by the bucket load, yeah, that it's really manual being able to set that stuff up, but then having to get the colors right, that was a thing. But yeah, well, next year to talk through it some more, particularly the tech part.
Definitely.
So cool.
And how to do our own. No. No. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, guys. Again, yeah, it's definitely a 2021 event in the making. We'd love to have you back. And love the Christmas tree in the background there, Ben. Already up. I can feel like we're almost there, touch wood, as Ben would say.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much. We have another very special guest that we wanted to introduce as well. Benjamin Goudey, who works at the IBM Research Labs. He has done some super cool work this year to help with celiac disease, so underlying the genetic factors that cause celiac disease, I believe. And I'm sure he can do a better job of explaining this. So Benjamin, thank you for joining us, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, no, thanks for the introduction and, the opportunity to talk here. So I'm actually going to try and share a slide as well. Let's see if this works. Bear with me 1 second. I should have closed down so many windows. Anyway, as sort of mentioned, so I'm Ben Goudey. I'm a researcher down in IBM's lab down here in Melbourne. And I've got a background in sort of computational genetics, and I guess most of what I do now nowadays sort of constitutes sort of data science projects. Can people share this, see this screen that I'm sharing, or not?
Ben, look great. Thank you.
Excellent. So my photos are probably not as exciting as the last presentation by Adam and Ben, but I've got a graph here, so I guess that makes up for some part of it. So the work that I'm sort of talking about here today is a great collaboration that I had with some researchers from the University of Melbourne, all about celiac disease. So, you know, what is this thing? So, you know, you probably know a bit about it already. Celiac disease is a condition where, you know, you can't eat bread, you can't eat pasta, all the things that I love. Well, why not, right? So this is an autoimmune disease, a disease where the body gets a little bit confused about exactly what is an external invader. And in the case of celiac disease, it gets a bit confused about wheat. So once wheat sort of makes its way down the body and gets to your sort of intestines, your body thinks a certain protein in it is actually a foreign invader, and it tries to launch an attack on that, but in the process sort of attacks your bowel and leaves you feeling a little bit unhappy. And of course, once your body's attacking itself all the time, you get inflammation, and this can sort of have some negative consequences longer term, right? You're at risk of other conditions. I mean, you can't eat anything with gluten in it, obviously, which is problematic. But it can also be very difficult for children, say, because they're not necessarily able to take in nutrients from their food, so it can have implications in terms of development. So an important question here is, well, how do we figure out who has this sort of condition? So, you know, there was a little bit on that slide that Ali had up a minute ago, sort of saying that a lot of conditions are undiagnosed. Not everybody ends up feeling really sick afterwards. But for those people that do, you know, all right, you go to the bakery, you feel upset afterwards. What do we do to get a clinical diagnosis? Well, you've got to eat gluten every day, right? Have a couple of bits of toast for about 6 to 10 weeks. Then you get a blood test, and it sort of says, hey, is your body attacking itself? Well, yes, it is. Let's confirm it. So what they do an endoscopy. They get a camera, they sort of put it down into you, look inside your intestines, and if they're really angry, right, if they're looking pretty sad, then you get a diagnosis of celiac disease. Well, sounds like a whole heap of fun right there. If you're already on a gluten-free diet, actually, you know, going back and eating gluten every day for about 6 to 10 weeks, pretty hard to do. Or if you're a child, like, you know, also maybe hard to do, but also maybe you don't want to have an endoscopy, right? Might be problematic. So what's an alternative way that we could test for celiac disease without needing to sort of consume all this gluten for a long time? And it's genetics, genetic testing, which is my sort of background. So this is where I slot into the picture. Has a really strong genetic basis. You need to have certain genes that regulate your immune system. And for people that don't carry these particular genes, you cannot have celiac disease. So we can do a test to see if you carry them. If you don't carry them, we can rule you out. And that rules out about 60% of the population. If you do carry them, about 40% of the population do carry these risk genes. Only 1% of the population has celiac disease. So we can't give you a positive diagnosis, but we can rule out a lot of people. People have tried to sort of improve the way that we do genetic testing by looking at more genes. So in clinic at the moment, we've sort of measured these 2 particular genes at the moment, but people have sort of said, well, we can measure everything, right? 3 billion bases in your genome, we can measure it all and look at that. And you do get a bit of an increase. So the graph that I'm showing here on the left-hand side in the red, that's what we currently do in clinic. On the right-hand side in the purple, that's what you could get if you included genetic information from everywhere. The particular project that I was a part of was like, well, can we do more with the data that we're collecting already? Because it's cheap to do. We've already got it. What if we improve our statistical methodology and sort of try and squeeze more out of it? And so, yeah, that's what we were able to do as part of this project. We came up with a better representation of some of these genetic variants, fed them into a pretty simple model. So you know, just a logistic regression, very simple, easy to understand, nothing sort of AI or fancy. In the green, so this sort of second bar, what we're showing here is our model making use of data that's collected in the clinic, but only using what we knew. And it does much better, right, than what we currently have. In the, I don't know what color that is, like blue, the second one from the right. This was one where sort of we were able to actually dig into this area a little bit more and uncover 2 new genes that were not previously discovered to be part of celiac disease. So it's actually like novel biology that we're now looking at to try and understand what's going on. And this led to sort of improved predictive performance and just as good as using everything in the genome, except we're already collecting all of this information in the clinic at the moment. So that's really exciting because it means that if people change the way that they're making use of this information, they could sort of use this right now. And what's the ramification of this? Well, if we tested 100 individuals, our test would rule out about 70 cases where people don't have celiac disease, whereas at the moment it's more like 47. So we're still sort of, you've still got like 30 individuals that you've got to follow up, but that's still ruling out a lot more people than you would otherwise. It saves you having to sort of go down this much more invasive and longer term sort of testing. And we're now looking at whether or not we could actually implement this as point of care. So whether or not you could go into the doctor, sort of have a bit of blood taken there and it gives you the results back. So yeah, lots of follow-up work, but it was a very interesting and sort of productive collaboration.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ben. And honestly, your labs are doing so much there because I know Nat too, and I asked her, do you know the guy that did this? And she's like, yes, he's my boss. Let me get in touch with him. So
yeah, so Nat's actually, this is Nat Willems, who I think is has joined the event. So she's actually working with me and some former IBM colleagues who are actually modeling some of these genes and their interactions. So actually looking at how do these things, how might they sort of play with each other to understand even more what goes on. So
yeah, no, I mean, it's awesome. And like, I really love out of our IBM Research labs. And it's not just you guys. We had the blockchain guys on this year as well, thanks to Alison and Nick, and all you guys are really working on solutions for our future. So like, I tip my hat to that. So, and you're all super smart as well. So keep being awesome. Thank you so much, Ben, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, Ali.
Ben, I mean, right? Yes, I'm okay.
Let me try that again. Hey, Ali, I have a brand new joke that you've never heard before because I didn't just put it in Slack to test it first. Literally, I have just created this, so bear with me. But,
it's related to bar charts, is it?
No, but if you have a bar chart with no data, it would be the best bar none.
Oh.
So, there we go. Anyway, on that note, and this is just to keep you all warmed up so you get these Deliveroo vouchers. But what's the difference between Christmas lunch and the internet? After both, you end up with more bandwidth. On that note, let's go to the panelists. I'm missing my bug.
Don't worry, everyone. I can do the rest of this on my own.
You actually can, and this is important because you're not wearing your facepalm hat. So yeah,
I know, but I'm gonna. All right, hang on. It's just here. I'm obviously gonna need this.
There we go. There we go. Found it. Let's go to the panelists.
Yes. So firstly, I wanted to introduce Sandra Alday. She is going to introduce some of our panelists. So I just wanted to say welcome to Sandra Alday, and she will introduce a few of our panelists. But our panelists are from some of our teams that we had in Call for Code this year. So for those of you that don't know, Call for Code is IBM's Tech for Good Hackathon. It's in its 3rd year this year, well, end of 3rd year now. It'll be its 4th year next year. You don't need to be able to code. You don't need to be in a professional company to do it. Basically, it's open to everyone that's got an idea or wants to help change the world, as Sandra will probably tell you. And we've had some great success this year with our team that we had at our hackathon at the beginning of the year, going all the way through to the global finals. So there was something like 400,000 entries across the world, all the way through to the global finals and coming 2nd. And we also had a university. Yes, we should celebrate that. We also had one of our university teams, Recharge, who are joining us on the panel as well. come in the top 5 in the world of the university stream. And we've also got Euphora, who we loved this year as well. So Sandra, thank you for joining us, and I'd love to have you introduce our panelists.
I just want to say, before we cut over, I just want to say thank you for your support, because seriously, it was amazing to have one of the teams one of the teams from the groups that we work so closely with throughout the year, place second globally. It's the first time ever that we've had someone that far up in the Corporate Code lineup. It was just amazing. Anyway, over to you for the panel.
Yeah, thank you to everyone for that. Thanks. Go, Sandra.
Hello, IBM world. It's great to be here. And so I'm Sandra. I'm speaking to you from the traditional lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, who for 40,000 years have been coming up with innovative ways to survive on this wild and unpredictable land. And so I normally like to pay homage to the awesome traditional owners of the land on which the University of Sydney Business School is standing on, because in the business school we are carrying on this tradition of innovation that the Gadigal people have been doing for so long. So I'm currently, my day job is that I'm the director of the DL program. It's an interdisciplinary undergraduate program at the University of Sydney. And in the business school, the vision of the DL program is to foster the development of leaders of creative disruption. So we need to develop leaders of creative disruption who can change the world. And why would we need to do that? We need to do that because the world needs a lot of changing. And we can't change the world if we keep on doing what we have always done. And in fact, this is the very definition of insanity, courtesy of Albert Einstein. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results each time. And so we do need leaders who have the courage to think differently and do things differently so that they can change the world for good. And this is what the DL program is all about. So how do you do this? In designing the DL program, and the DL program is pretty young, it was launched in 2018. So in the design of the DL program, I took inspiration from Malcolm Gladwell's book, Outliers. If you haven't read it, go grab a copy. It's an amazing book. And so Malcolm Gladwell talks about outliers. So what's an outlier? An outlier is essentially someone who rises head and shoulders above everyone else to do stuff that makes a difference in the world. And so in the book, Malcolm Gladwell searches for the factors that characterize people who have changed the world. People like, for example, Bill Gates. And we can distill Malcolm Gladwell's findings into 3 factors. So what are the 3 factors that are required in a person who can change the world? So the first one is talent or skills. And we all know, of course, that talent or skills aren't enough. All we need to do to confirm that talent isn't enough is to just go to YouTube. We can find tremendous talent on YouTube, but not everyone can get to the top of the YouTube charts. The most talented person on YouTube isn't the one at the top of the YouTube charts. That would be people like PewDiePie, T-Series, Dude Perfect. This is not to say, of course, that PewDiePie isn't a talented person. I'm sure he's very, very talented at his games and being very talented as an entertainer. But clearly, talent just isn't enough to get you out there head and shoulders above everyone and changing the world. The second major ingredient that Malcolm Gladwell identifies as an important factor that goes on top or together with talent is hard work. And this is how many of the top YouTubers get to the top of the YouTube charts. It's just a massive amount of hard work. And this is what Bill Gates did when he was a teenager, coding away at a computer lab. And this is where the 10,000 hour rule comes from. We can't get to be called an expert unless we've put in 10,000 hours of the work required to call ourselves an expert. So this is what hard work is all about. Making a difference and being an outlier takes a lot of hard work. But talent and hard work aren't enough, because there are a lot of talented people who put in a lot of hard work but aren't quite there yet in terms of getting out there and making a difference and changing the world for good. There's a third thing that Malcolm Gladwell identifies as a key ingredient for an outlier, and that's opportunity. Just the opportunity to do things and engage with things and engage with ways to use talent, to work hard in order to really make a difference. And it's in this third space that the DL program is designed around. So we take much pride in partnering with awesome partners like IBM. IBM has been a very important partner since 2019, and this year we've partnered with you to bring together students for Call for Code in sometime in, was it May, June, and July. So that big chunk of time in the middle of this insane year. So it's these awesome opportunities where we give our talented and hardworking students significant opportunities to not just make a difference in the future, but make a difference in the world right here and right now. So it's with enormous pride and joy that I introduce our talented, hardworking students. We've got Recharged, our one of the top 5, which put us at one of the top 5 universities in the world in Call for Code, and of course Business Buddy, which has put us at the top of the charts by coming in a really close second in the global Call for Code competition. So to Recharged, Business Buddy, and Euphora from UNSW, this message is for you. Take your talent, your hard work, and grab every opportunity you can to be an outlier. The world, changing the world is in your hands.
Oh, Sandra, we love you so much, and the students are so lucky to have you, and no wonder they went so far with a mentor and cheerleader like you behind them. Thank you for changing the world like you are as well. Yeah, we really enjoy it. Steve, I was just thinking we should try and high five. Oh, wait, is it going to work in this scene? Oh, maybe it will. I think, well, I don't know if it's going to be we have this all planned out in the single news scene, but yeah, it's all right. It's good. Woo! So as Sandra mentioned, we have Business Buddy coming up to join us. Business Buddy, feel free to, whoops, wrong way with the slides. It's not a real event without a few tech fails, is it? Business Buddy included Jagan, Josh, Teresa, and Andrew. Unfortunately, Teresa can't join us tonight, but Andrew, Jagan, and Josh are here. We are going to be doing this panel style, so welcome Andrew, Jagan, and Josh. And these guys came second globally in the world. What a success story. So really excited to hear from them. Also, Yep. Just going to say just quickly, yeah, we are doing this panel style. So if you have a question, please put it into general chat. We'll keep an eye on it, or in the Q&A section, which is on the, well, it says Q&A. Anyway, either one works. Yep. Best questions get delivery vouchers also. Just made that up on the spot because Agile. We've also got Recharged, who I was super lucky to have a little bit of mentorship with at the beginning of this year with Liam Mills, who I know kind of built this app from scratch without ever having done anything like that before. And it's those kind of stories that are super amazing and great idea. And they came in the top 5 of the university finalists. We also had Euphora, who did an energy saving app this year, and they joined us from Uni New South Wales. Kyra is here to talk from Euphora as well. So welcome to the stage. It's going to be a packed stage, actually.
What can go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, what could go wrong?
This is fine.
So do we have Kim? Are you here as well? Liam, I can see you as well. Feel free to turn on your camera and microphone. Here we go. And Sandra, thank you for your chat, and we might welcome you back a little later as well with some video if you wanted to turn off your camera. Thank you so much. I think we're just getting a bit packed up here, that's all.
Yeah, fun fact. So already...
as well, Clara, please feel free to turn on your camera and mic. And Kim, if you're there, you also should be able to.
So fun fact about this platform, we're only supposed to be able to have 6 cameras on the stage at any one time, but as you can see, feature not a bug. Hey, it works. There we go.
So, yep, if anyone has questions for these guys, they guys all started the year, and I might throw over to you, Jagan and Josh. I know you guys all started the year. Were you expecting what happened this year? I mean, when you came to this little Call for Code hackathon, why did you join? And what was your journey like? What are some of your highlights, I guess?
Yeah, just before I quickly answer that, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone on the developer team and also to Sandra. Essentially, I guess to answer your question, we're only here and we only really started going into this because of you guys. So thank you so much. Essentially, so at the beginning of this year, Josh and we were part of a university class, and Sandra was our teacher for that. And it was about solving complex problems, and our complex problem was to do with government services. And so when COVID kind of started unraveling, and then Sandra was talking to you guys over IBM, and we realized that it would be a really good opportunity to kind of use our ideas from the class and implement them for this Call for Code challenge and kind of hone them towards COVID-19. So that's how we started. And then I guess, Josh, do you want to say how you feel about how we went?
So I think after that, it basically evolved to where we were very fortunate to participate in one of the Call for Code hackathons. It was just a weekend hackathon. And I think that was really our entry point to understand like the stakes that was on the line for the competition. Because obviously, just to give a bit of background, Jagan and I here don't come from a technical background. So I think when we enter into that hackathon, we understood some of the tools that were available for us, but we also understood the road was quite steep in the sense that there was a lot to learn in terms of actually having some technical skills to build it up. So I think it was really good exposure to meet people in industries, and I think it also brought in a perspective, and that's perhaps how we got on Andrew. So I think after that, Jagan, messaged one of his high school friends, and Andrew was the perfect person for the position to join our team, as well as Teresa, and that's kind of how we eventually, started our journey with Call for Code. So, Andrew, you want to continue, perhaps, how that led on?
Oh yeah, so it was some stage in June when I got a message from Jagan saying he had an interesting proposition. And yeah, it's one thing led to another, and yeah, we were having these weekly meetups with the IBM developer team, which were guiding us through creating our platform, or figuring out what our platform was, then building it up until final push, the final sprint, where we were pitching it, pitching, building, testing, and then just releasing into the wild at the start of August. I've lost track of the year.
Where did it go?
No, it was really amazing because I remember you guys coming to the first little hackathon, and there's no way any of us could have known where you were going to go from there. And Like honestly, I remember kind of having a quick chat to you, maybe one late one evening. You had a great idea. You had a great pitch, but no developers. So really, it's been interesting to see you bring along Andrew as well, and the dynamics of your team have changed a little bit there as well. And oh my God, when they were doing the live announcements for Call for Code, and they were doing it from 5 to 1, obviously. And we just kept hearing someone else's name from the 5 to 1. I'm like, oh my God, they might win this. Oh my God. And then I could see you in the background going, what's going on? It was amazing anyway. So we do have a question from the audience, actually. Shiva asks, how long did it take you to develop your solution? And I think this goes for everyone. So maybe we'll throw over to Liam and Kyra after that one as well.
Well, we were working on it for a month. Like, it was just all out July, but really it was like the final sprint was the final fortnight where I was just working on it 24/7 for the 2 weeks to get it working. So realistically, like 2 and a bit weeks.
I think the only thing that I add to that is that, you know, with coming up with a product, essentially, I think one of the most difficult part, in addition to the technical aspect of, you know, coming up with the actual framework, but it's the other aspect where you're trying to find a right solution to the problem. And I think, you know, we've had a few iterations as to what we wanted to address, but I think we just like along that journey, you know, talking with people from IBM and talking to Sandra, I think we're just trying to formulate, you know, what was the best way of, you know, structuring our final pitch, you know, in terms of the solution. I think that's what's perhaps most difficult at times, like finding the right problem and right solution. So obviously, 1 month was what we had to complete, like the entire submission. But I think in terms of like the distribution of time, like half of it was perhaps spending, you know, understanding the problem, and the other was spending, you know, actually building it out.
Yeah, amazing. And you make a really good point there. It's all about, you know, if you've got a great idea, iterate around that, value proof it with real who you think would be users, and you can change the world. You're proof of that. So Liam, I'd like to talk to you next about how long it took to develop your solution, because I think I might have a few answers on that one. I have a few late night hustles, and can you hear us, Liam? I know you've just come straight from the exam though. Bit of a tech fail happening. Maybe turn your. Oh, there we go.
Yes. Okay. Hey guys.
Congratulations on finishing your exams too, and thanks for joining us. Straight after what exam tonight?
Yeah. So we started. I think it was due end of June, I think, and we pretty much started working on it like final week of May. So it's about 6 weeks. But yeah, because I hadn't really actually developed anything before, like besides like a simple Python subject at school. At uni, so it was a lot of like figuring out what was going on. So it was quite a bit of a cram the whole time for me. And yeah, Kim,
that's actually a great story. Sorry.
And yeah, Kim and Connor worked like concurrently, just on, you know, building out the pitch and the business and everything.
Yeah, no, and that's a really great story and a really great point, Liam. All you've done is Python script, and now you've built pretty much a whole product that you've taken to an accelerator, I believe. That's right, Kim? Is that where your project is at now?
We've sort of given our project a bit of a break. But yeah, at one stage we were trying to get it implemented, but like, credits to Liam, like he did all the work building the app. Like, yeah, like me and Connor were just like, oh, like, thank you, Liam. Because like, yeah, we didn't really know how that sort of helped because we didn't have any skills in coding. But yeah, we mainly worked on like the pitching side of things.
Yeah, I got to say, just to jump into add to what Dev Ali was saying too, like the way he's built that app out, and you're picking up like technologies for for the first time, and then running with them, like working out what worked, working out what didn't work, and just that whole reiterative process of like, how do we need to go here? How do we get here? What do we need to learn? Need to learn React things. That was amazing.
Yeah, and totally what it's all about, just giving it a go, right? I mean, what can go wrong? Like tonight. Give it a go. She'll be fine. Kyra, I know we saw you at more than one of our weekend hackathons as well. What was your experience like? And, you know, how long did it take you guys to build out your solution?
Yeah, so we joined the May hackathon, and that was when we first created our idea. And then it was just kind of on and off until July. I'm sure the rest of you will all agree that it was kind of difficult to fit with your uni courses. Though I think you were all fortunate enough for it to have actually been integrated into one of your courses. For our team, it was just a side hustle. So yeah, it was just kind of on and off every now and then. So we participated in the May hackathon, then the June hackathon, and then we gave the global one a shot. So that's a couple of months of work. But I think if you actually added the days where we were doing work, it was probably maybe like 2 months.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. And seeing your solution from one hackathon to the next is much more thought you'd put into it from one to the next was like, it was really inspiring to us. We're like, wow, these guys are really committed to this. They want to make a change. You know, as Sandra was saying, they want to be they want to have an impact on where their world's going. And your app was definitely aiming to do that. And you did put a lot of work into it, and it showed. And we were super impressed. So that's why we've invited you here tonight as well.
Cheers, thank you. It's great to be here.
I guess maybe you've just touched on something there a little bit as well, Kyra. But I think one of our audience members is asking as well, what was one of the biggest challenges for you in coming up and validating your idea? Like, because I know you all had great ideas and they were all validated by judges and mentors across this year. But maybe, the question basically is, how did you get started? Where did you get these ideas from, and why?
Yeah, it was interesting to try and brainstorm these ideas because it was the first time we had all worked, like my team and I had worked virtually. So that was interesting to actually have a discussion via this really cool setup that IBM uses. To get a lot of the ideas rolling, we used a lot of the starter packs that IBM actually offered for the Call for Code, and using those, having a read through all of the resources that were available to us, kind of got those creative juices flowing, and then just collaborating through what personal problems, I guess, that we all experienced or knew that other people experienced, and ways that we thought would best address those. But that was over several hours of just chatting and trying to figure it out. It didn't come right away. I can definitely assure you.
What hackathons were all about, like just agile design thinking, throwing around ideas and seeing what sticks, I guess. Was that the same for you, Kim and Liam?
We never met before doing. Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
We never met before doing the hackathon, so it was quite interesting just doing it virtually, not having known each other at all. And how we really did it was just throwing ideas into a chat and bouncing them off each other over Messenger. And then Connor threw in pretty much the exact idea we ended up using, and Kim and I were like, "That's pretty good." we like that, so we stuck with it.
Yeah, we really liked it. So we were fortunate to sort of just go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, and I love the new logo as well, which you've got up on your screen at the moment. I've noticed it.
Thank you.
a bit of sneaky production efforts going on there, looking great. No, I actually love it. So
I just need to get the green screen. it's a bit dodgy.
Yeah, I'm a bit transparent tonight as well, so mine's quite right too.
See, I've also worked out this week literally the last day or so, how to route audio through a whole bunch of stuff too, which is doing fun things to my computer. But you've all done an amazing job with sort of building stuff out. You're all gonna enter again next year, right? Or you're definitely going to be coming back to take part, to mentor at least. But what's next? Maybe to Jagan and Josh, what's next steps?
So I think for us, it's definitely been a journey so far to complete this 2020 challenge. I think our immediate goal for the next, like 6 months would be to further develop our product so that's more commercialized in that sense. I think having it actually rolled out in New South Wales is where we want it to lead to. I think just because, we've had so much traction, doing this competition and doing so well in it, I think it really puts us in a position where we can leverage, this opportunity. Obviously, looking forward to 2021, I think we're definitely keen to see if there's any way we can get engaged. I think if there's any capacities for us to be mentors in an informal setting about perhaps not on the technical aspect, but maybe how can groups, work together in who knows if it's going to be a virtual environment or a physical environment. I think perhaps the soft side of the group aspect, I think that's probably where we could definitely be engaged in.
Yeah, and I think just bouncing off that in terms of you mentioned the soft aspect, but I think like we were saying before, a lot of it is kind of design thinking and figuring, trying to find the problem and then solving it and just trying to think of ways to tackle that. And so I think that's what we really enjoyed doing, at least for the first half, was just getting the crux of it and just picking around the subject and just trying to figure out, who the people, who the customers were, who the people we actually need to work with was, and all that kind of jazz. So I feel like that's one way that we would really like to help with the next group of people.
Actually, just before we go to the next person, how was it? Because we did some media recently. How was it? Was that your first time doing media stuff? And how did you find it? Was it scary? It was scary.
It was, I think, thankfully, when you do something online, it kind of takes that kind of anxiety away. So it was kind of good in that respect. Yeah. But it is very interesting to talk to a journalist, so someone who is really actually reporting on what you've been up to and presenting that to the public. So that was pretty daunting. But overall, I think it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Always a great experience, and that's the thing I always love about doing startup things, is it's always such great experience. You get to learn all this stuff, and you really put new skills to the test. So definitely been good, and you did amazing with the journalist, by the way. Liam and Kim, what's next steps for your app, and days ahead?
So in terms of the viability in Australia, currently we're facing some issues. So we've been discussing pivoting the app, and the exams have come around. So now I've kind of postponed that, but now exams are done. So we'll get back into the discussion. So for now, it's been on a bit of a pause. But yeah, we're keen to see what we can do with it moving forward. And in terms of Core for Code next year, this kind of triggered a bit of a love for the hackathons, I guess. They're a lot of fun. So yeah, I think I want to participate most likely, but I'm happy to mentor.
Yeah. Nice.
Amazing. We'd love to have you both. Definitely.
Totally.
Fun fact, I actually met developer Steve and have this job now. And I think someone's asking in the chat about upskilling and finding work, and you really it's all about mindset to me, and also about just getting out there and meeting new people like you all have, like Liam and Kim. You'd never met before this hackathon, and look where you are now. Jagan, Andrew, Josh, I know Jagan and Josh, you knew each other, but you hadn't met Andrew before, and that's amazing, and look where you've gone with that. And, back to my story that I started half an hour ago. No, actually met Dev Steve at a hackathon, and we stayed in touch, and that's one of the reasons I have the job I do today. So you just never know where being involved can take you. I think that's my point on that one. So thanks for asking that question, Jaron. Is there an age limit to participate, Steve? I've just got another question in the chat there from Shiva. I don't believe there is.
I don't
18?
know. For the global competition, yeah, there is some age restrictions just around some of the activities associated to, well, winning. But we have had sort of younger people participate in some of our IRL versions, but in real life versions. See, I've abbreviated it now in the past. So yes and no, I guess you could say.
It's yeah, we will definitely get back to you on that. Shiva, you're definitely in the right age bracket, though, I know. So we'd love to have you join us as well.
Forever 21, which is the one I'm in too, just saying.
Yeah, totally. I don't look a day over that, right?
That's right.
Did anyone else have, I can't say, I think that's all the questions from the chat. Steve, did you have another question for them? Actually, I do have one that is pretty fun, and I know that G-Chan wanted me to ask you as well. So G-Chan is another one of our developer advocates, you met her earlier. Can you sum up your, and I'm going to go around the whole table here, sum up your CFC, call for code experience in one word? This is going to be tough. Who wants to go first? Andrew, with the letter A.
Inspiring.
Awesome. Kyra?
Rewarding.
Nice.
Love that. Kim?
Enjoyable.
Awesome. Liam?
I'll have to say steep.
Very apt. Yeah, that's a good one.
And Jagan and Josh, one word each would be great.
Different. That's what I would.
I say empowering.
Oh, I love these words.
Right.
What are you guys reading? This is great. Thank you for sharing those. We do have another question from the crowd, actually. Nan Wang asks, one question. Participating in the call for code, does it have to be a complete new idea solving a social issue? It could be, or could it be an initiative I've already been working on? So I think actually we'll probably take that, Steve. So go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I was going to say it could be both, so long as it's using open source things, like it's no proprietary stuff sort of underlying that you've been working on for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden, use the hackathon to launch it. And it has to be open source stuff, which is why like we have all the kits available at the start of the year so that people can agnostically build off open source tech, basically in a nice little kit form. So, yes.
But I mean, if you have an idea for changing the world that fits into climate change or COVID or inclusion and diversity will also be one of our themes next year, which we're really, I'm pumped about because it's one of my favorite themes and there's so much you can do to tackle with it. If you have an idea around one of those, get a team together, get ready. We're excited. And we've got hopefully some bigger and better things happening next year as well. Did you have any other questions for the panelists, Steve?
I'm going to ask I love asking this question just because, well, I'm a geek and I love geeking out with folks. So if we do one last lap around, what was your first computer? And I can tell you my answer to this one, and I know Ali's one. So, but yeah.
Where's my phone when I need it?
We need to put this in one of your OBS scenes. And I can see everyone now going, what was my first computer? Let's go with Liam, and we'll work our way around. But yeah, final questions.
I guess my first was my mum's iMac that I borrowed, used.
Nice. Was that the one with the big coloured backs? I like those ones. Those
No.
cool. No, they weren't. I think.
Actually, wait, no. We had a Dell, like a beefy Dell before, which it had more of a back. It wasn't flat.
They're also good at singing computers, Adele. Anyway, that's a joke that I did in reverse. Amazing, thank you. Kim, what about you? What was your first computer?
I think it was a really heavy and a really large HP.
Nice. Yeah, laptops definitely have come a long way. Well, and desktops too, for that matter. Get little tiny, Raspberry Pis. You can do stuff on those now. So, yay, amazing. Kyra?
Well, my very first computer was from Santa. I asked him for a computer, but it ended up being like a gaming computer. So not like Alienware or anything, but literally just a glorified Game Boy, but except looked like a computer.
Amazing. Well, I mean, clearly, yeah, you're able to still, do all the things on it, and it inspired your passion to, well, get involved in tech things. So amazing. What about you, Andrew?
Yeah, because I'm supposed to be the tech guy from the team, but I've got no idea what the hardware was.
That's fine. Yeah, there was a bunch of computers that I know I've owned in the past. I have no idea what they were, but hey, they played Leisure Suit Larry amazingly well. So thank you. And lastly, Josh and Jagan.
I think mine was like an Acer laptop. It's like a Taiwanese brand. I'm not too sure how popular it is, but it served its purpose. Yeah.
I think mine, I also don't know the hardware, but it was like kind of like a big boxy one, kind of like the one in Ali's image. But I remember it was very cool because like if you got really close to the screen, you could feel the static like from the screen.
Oh, yep.
It was one of those.
Remember those. They kept you warm at night when you're like up doing stuff really late. And we actually haven't entirely worked out which one is in Ali's photo, which is, I love that photo, just got to say, Ali. But we know it's an IBM.
Me too. Ironically, it's an IBM, and you can't see the watermark down the bottom, but it's from '88. So
yeah, we've actually been trying to figure this out.
If anyone can tell me what IBM computer that is with the floppy disk sitting on it.
I think there's a Deliveroo voucher in telling us which computer this is. If anyone knows, please let us know.
Oh, maybe two.
And my first computer, and this is totally going to give my age away, is an Atari 800 XL with the 5.5-inch optional floppy drive. So I taught myself Qt Basic on that when I was young. I forget, it was many decades ago now. Literally many decades ago. Anyway, no, that was amazing. Thank you all for spending time with us today and geeking out. And yeah, looking forward to doing stuff with you in days ahead. And yeah, I hope you have an amazing break.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And I think we're going to end it with a wrap-up video of the year, Steve.
We are. I'm going to work some magic, which I hope will continue to work. Which wrap-up video was this one? This is the hackathon ones, right? No, you did tell me in the Slack. Hang on, no, I'm lagging now. The call for code montage?
Yeah. I mean, do you think I've changed since I still look like I was about 8 years old? And I mean, was that me? No, I'm not that old.
Oh, the hackathons video. Yes, you called it call for code in the Slack. Anyway, this is fine. This is fine. It's been an amazing meetup. But yes, let's play the hackathons video.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Here's the hack.
Hungry for some virtual pizza now. I don't know about you. I mean, it's 10 a.m. here, but
IBM Cloud, which, to be honest, I hadn't used before this and found it super easy.
I have a dream that one day every gift shall be exalted.
Applying and developing machine learning methods to derive insights from genomic data.
This particular tag to print out the lowest level is going to be debug.
Our hackers who are uncaffeinated, hallowed be thy frameworks.
That's going to use some of the messaging API features from Telstra Dev.
So we like to proudly present our solution, Eagle Eye.
Full visibility up and down the line for all players within the ecosystem.
To Sandra, Dean, and Steve King for their insights and sharing their experiences today.
We love to refine their ideas and interact with them to come up with some innovative solutions.
It was an awesome experience. I got a lot of inspiration from meeting with different teams and hearing their innovative ideas.
I was a bit unsure at first if hackathons were going to be my thing, because I don't even know how to code, but I love them.
Want to know what's awesome? Call for Code. My name's Nicholas Renot. I'm one of the mentors from Call for Code 2020.
It's been so amazing to be part of some virtual events this year with the IBM developer team, namely some IoT and API workshops at the Call for Code and Touch Health hackathons.
So far this year, we have managed to solve some of the most pressing issues in the world.
everybody somewhere at some point has been able to get involved in something.
Roxana and Jake, amazing work. Congratulations. Number one, Josh and Jagan with Business Buddy. Yeah!
Our solution, Recharge, is a mobile-based sharing platform for residential and commercial charging stations.
Hey, and it worked. Amazing. So fun fact, like I managed to get that aggregated audio thing working, and I tried like a few times over this year just so we could do some nice little nuances to events and things. And so I can't actually hear what's playing. All I can see it because there's like little dials, meters and things, but yeah, I can't actually hear it. So, but that looked good. That looked good.
There
Anyway,
were so many memories in that video as well, Steve. And again, I want to repeat what Ben said earlier. Thank you to everyone for being involved. Thank you for participating. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for coming to this meetup. And, you know, I would love to see you back again next year. We've got heaps of ideas, and I'm sure you do too. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for 2020, everybody. And thank you for making it awesome.
yeah, thank you all. And yeah, we're going to see you next year. So yeah, as if you haven't guessed, Call for Code is back next year, and we're planning all sorts of things. There's rockets, there's space. No, anyway, we're going to go away and have a break, as I'm sure all you are. Remember, keep learning, and we'll see you next year.
Woo! Dev, Steve, and Ali out. Happy 2020, Ed. We made it.